And we are back for another episode of LosCEO Show. My name is Leo, and I'm going to be hosting this. Basically, just to give you a little bit of information about the show. What we do is we sit with entrepreneurs to kind of go into and find out and pick their brain on why they got into this crazy ride. If you don't know entrepreneurship, you basically work 7 days a week. So it takes a certain kind of person to get into this. I have with me my co-host, Judy Moreno. And we're now going to speak to Nadya Ramos from MRK Marketing Consulting. Nadya, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So let's start off. Where are you from? Why did you decide to get into this? So tell me.
Thank you again for having me. I was raised in Honduras. I grew up there, but I moved to the United States at about 7 to 8 years old. And my whole life since a little kid, I've been writing. So writing has been a big part of my creative outlet and just my relationships. Really, writing has helped me kind of like get out of my shell. I used to be a really shy person. I consider myself an introvert. And so I, took journalism in college, then transitioned to communications, public relations, and I got my first internship after I got my degree in communications. And it was in Atlantic City for a marketing company, a nonprofit that was tasked with promoting the city of Atlantic City.
Okay.
So this was at a time when the casinos were doing really well, but the other parts of the city, the other businesses were struggling to keep up and to change with the times. And working with this group of professionals, it was only about 12 people. It was a really small team, but they really showed me the impact that communications, messaging, branding, they really showed me the impact that those key facets of a business can have, or an organization can have, on its community. And so that's kind of where I started. Several years later, I found myself in Phoenix. And in Phoenix, I took on a role as a social media manager, then it went into a director of marketing. That position really opened my world up because I got to manage other people. I got to build up my own team. And I really got to sink my teeth into marketing from a leadership standpoint.
Okay.
During the pandemic, I was let go. And I'll never forget, it was August 21st. And I went home and I said to my husband, I've worked really hard on my life and I really love what I do. I don't want to start over. I am going to do exactly what I have been doing for other companies, but I want to do it for myself. And I want to have more control over the mission that I support.
Okay.
So not only my mission, but also the mission of other entrepreneurs. Y de ahí comenzó MRK Marketing Consulting. So marca is kind of like a play on words. La palabra marca means brand in Spanish. And mi misión es to help other people leave a mark in their communities. The same way that I saw how all the work that we did in the marketing department from this small team brought jobs and opportunities to Atlantic City. So that's kind of where I started. Ya llevo 3 años. I'm 3 years in, 30 businesses served. And I'm just excited to use what I know and love, which is writing and messaging and communications, as a way to reach other people and to help other people grow their businesses.
Now, why is it so important, even on social media, for a well-versed or well-written post?
Listen, social media is just another channel. It's just another channel. It is no different than television. It is no different than your website. It's really there are things about it that of course we treat it differently because it is a different medium. But when it comes to messaging and marketing, it's about reaching people. It's about connecting with people. So why is it important? I mean, think if you were investing in a commercial, right, to put that commercial on TV, it would cost you money to do that. And so you would put probably, more time and thought and energy into producing that commercial so that the people that see that commercial take action, so that they're left with some sort of feeling or emotion. The same happens with social media. The big difference, I feel, is that because the because there is no monetary exchange,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to pay to post. You don't have to pay with dollar signs to post. I think people have kind of forgotten that really it's just another channel of communication.
Yeah.
Um, it's important the same way that it's important, we just saw the Super Bowl and how much went into creating those commercials, those what 3-second bits of video. It's really no different. And my whole thing is, I think a lot of people are the way that they're treating social media. They don't get the results that they possibly could be getting because they're not investing the time, energy, and thought into the content that they put out. It's not that it's not working for them. It's that they're treating it with less respect than they would an ad on the Super Bowl or a commercial that they had to pay to buy that time slot.
Mm-hmm. Now, and the Super Bowl has its own demographic and everything, but even on social media, do you think that a lot of business owners because you have to be a little bit older to become a business owner. I think you need to go through that struggle at the beginning. But once they're established and they say, you know what, I could do everything myself. Why do you think that they don't look at it like you said, like with the Super Bowl and the ad?
I think a lot of it has to do with, especially for Hispanics, I think a
Mhm.
lot of it has to do with this mindset of, if it's not hard,
Mhm.
then it's, if I don't sink my teeth into it, if I don't pour my all into it,
Yeah.
it's not going to work for me. And so we tend to get into this kind of trap of I'm going to do it all. Why would I pay someone to post on social media for me? Well, you would pay someone because
Mhm.
you yourself are not a marketer, or you yourself are not a content creator. So you would pay someone to create content, to help you create content to reach people that are going to help you, get people to your website, get people in the
Mhm.
door if you're a restaurant. Um, I think some of it is cultural in the
Okay.
Hispanic population, and some of it probably has to do with social media is still relatively new,
Yeah.
right? Television has been around, radio has been around. Social media is still relatively new. So even me, when I'm sitting on calls with people, with potential clients, they really want to know. They really want to know, okay, I get it. You're going to free up my time when you take social media off my plate, but what results can I see from this? Because I've been posting every day on my own and I'm not seeing any results. Okay,
Yeah.
well, that has nothing to do with social media. That has to do with the lack of strategy that you have. I think it's a little bit of both cultural
Mhm.
nuances, and then also the fact that we're still pretty much in the early years of this.
So now you're speaking about the cultural shock, and again, I think us Latinos or Hispanics, we don't believe a lot in branding and colors and what they mean and everything. Why is that important to explain to a potential customer what branding is?
Branding is a story. Branding is the way that people feel from working with you. If you're a service provider, branding, there's so much that goes into it beyond the logo, beyond the colors that you pick for your logo. Branding is beyond your website and your social media. It's about the story that you tell and the parts of the story that stick with people. And
Okay.
once you welcome them into your world and they become a client of yours, the stories they tell about working with you,
Okay.
it's really like a cycle. You introduce them to this world, right? For me, it's MRK Marketing Consulting was born out of this, and this, and that, and it has helped these people get these types of results. But that story is only true if the people that are working with me can vouch for me, right?
Mhm.
So it's a little bit of your reputation as well as the message that you put out. So the logo, the colors, the channels that you're on, whether it's Instagram or TikTok, all of that together help move that story forward. So branding is kind of this thing that we have, I don't know why, but a lot of people are stuck in the idea that it's a logo or it's a thing that you can see. It's really more a feeling that people are left with from working with you or from interacting with your product or service.
Wow. So I have how old is he? 17. I have a 17-year-old. Most of his life, he's known social media. Most of his life, he's known that. So to him, it comes a little bit natural to know the different kinds of posts that you put on TikTok compared to Instagram, compared to Facebook. So how do you explain that to somebody that you can't just post the same thing on all the different platforms?
I actually am, my perspective on content itself is a little bit different. So
Okay.
I am a consumer-centric person. Like my approach,
Mhm.
let's say my approach to marketing and content and social media in general. We go where the potential client goes. So you've heard marketers and social media gurus talk about the ideal client or the ideal avatar, the buyer persona. Okay.
Mhm.
All that is in your head, who's best positioned to get results from the solution that you offer to a problem that they have, right? So that's buyer persona, ideal client avatar, your ideal follower. Okay, we study that person and we follow that person around. We want to go where they are. So the content stems from that as well. Where am I gonna spend my time and energy? Because as solopreneurs, as service providers, a lot of us, we don't have a full-blown team.
Mhm.
So my approach is less is more. Let's focus on two channels where your ideal client or your buyer persona is already spending their time.
Okay.
Let's say that it's Instagram and TikTok because maybe they're a little bit younger. Okay,
Mhm.
we're gonna go spend time on Instagram and TikTok, and we're not just going to start throwing content at them. We're going to study those platforms and the way that they use those platforms. Do they use those platforms to get information, to learn about new products, to do their research if they're traveling and they want to like find the hot spots in that area? So we go where they are. Once we figure out where they are, we study that platform and the way that people use those platforms.
Mhm.
And then we figure out, okay, what type of content relevant to the solution that I offer can we put out?
Okay.
So it's a little bit of we reverse engineer. We don't just throw content out there. So I
Yeah.
don't believe you have to create content for every platform. I believe it has to be centered on the person you're trying to attract.
Okay. That's great. Now let's take a step back a little bit. You were speaking about the customers and the customers that you have served. After the pandemic or during the pandemic, how did it feel when you got that first customer that said, you know what, I'm going to trust MRK Marketing Consulting to help me out? What was that feeling?
Okay, so I'll let you in on a little secret.
Mm.
My first clients were my friends. I had a friend of mine, a good friend of mine who went into real estate. And so she was like, you know what? They're telling me how to do social media, and I don't feel like spending my time there. I just want to sell homes. So she gave me the opportunity. And then another client of mine, she was getting into microblading. She was doing eyebrows. She set up a little shop. And so those were some of my first clients, the people who I had known for years. I think that is something that a lot of people don't take enough advantage of. So your existing network, the people around you, they might not be your ideal client, but chances are they know someone with a business. If they don't have a business themselves, they know someone who probably does. Those people already know, like, and trust you from the relationship you've had with them. Those girls are my friends. So they were my first clients. But I'll tell you about the first client that I landed that had no connection to me.
Okay.
And it was a restaurant business. They had 17 locations. When they started with me, they had about 13 and they were expanding. They ended up with 17 franchises.
Very nice.
And listen, they were that client who it was a struggle
Mm.
because they gave me the opportunity. And so I was grateful for that. But they also were very much in the mindset of like, we don't really need social media. We're just doing it because everybody else is telling us to. Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's the thing about marketing. Marketing isn't something that you do because someone else tells you that it's working for them. It's got to be about, is my ideal client on social media? I posted a video not long ago talking about Rolls-Royce. You're
Mhm.
not going to see a lot of commercials on your
Mhm.
TV, on cable. You might see them on Netflix, but on cable, you might not catch a lot of Rolls-Royce commercials because the person who can afford that car, they're not watching a lot of TV on cable.
Yeah.
So you've got to go where your ideal client is.
Wow. You know what? You speak about the client, right? The ideal client. I think that comes with a lot of exposure, and I think what you're doing, you're able to see different people and different backgrounds. That's why you're able to tailor everything exactly to that person. Now, tell the people how they can find you, because I'm pretty sure people are what they want to know right now, so they can reach out to you. So where can the people find you?
The easiest place to find me is on Instagram and LinkedIn. So I am Nadya Ramos, NADYA RAMOS _ on Instagram, and the same name on LinkedIn. And the reason why I'm not giving you my marketing consulting channels is because my personal brand has been what really has helped connect people and trust me, build that trust factor with people. So that's another thing too that I want to make sure that I mention. For the service providers out there, leverage your personal brand. That's the first connection that people are going to make. They're going to know you for you before they know you for your logo or your brand colors. So I want to make sure that I say that to empower people to use their person, right? What help them stand out and makes them unique in this busy, crazy, noisy world of social media. So Instagram and LinkedIn at Nadya Ramos.
Okay, so I'm going to leave you with this question. What do you tell that person that, like you touched on it a little bit before, but I want you to tell that person, give them a message that I'm an entrepreneur, I own my business, but I can do everything. What do you tell that person?
I would say being resourceful can be a double-edged sword. From someone who is, I started in my business with borrowed money from my mom so that I could buy a computer and launch my website. So do what you can to get things going and save as much as you can to invest in the things that you don't love doing or you don't do as well, and someone else can come in and do them in half the time that you can. Resourcefulness is a double-edged sword. You do it when you do it to get off the ground and to get to a place of stability. But I would say don't be afraid to invest in yourself and bring in the people who in their area are experts at what they do. That's going to free up your time and energy so you can do more of what only you are good at and you know how to do. Say someone that does taxes, right? I don't do taxes. So I started working with someone who does that, who offers that service. And they're like, okay, I can take on more clients because I don't have to worry about marketing myself. You're doing that for me. That's exactly the point. I take off your plate the things that are holding you back, that take you too long to do, or you're not doing them to the best of their ability. So you can take on more clients and you can focus on what you know and love to do best.
I love it. Once again, where can people find you and MRK Marketing Consulting?
On LinkedIn and Instagram, Nadya Ramos. Nadya is Nadya, Ramos, Ramos.
That's perfect. So I want to thank you once again for being with us, and thank you the people that are watching this. Remember to share the video, let the people know that we are here. Nadia, once again, thank you for being with us, and
Thank you, Nadia.
we'll definitely keep talking again.
Thank you for having me.